Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. That's Jim Cornette in the background. And what's crazy here is we'll check out this news story.
At a Santa Fe construction site, human remains, and there are dozens of them. Now the developer is trying to figure out what to do about it. News 13's Francesca Washington has the story.
They were just digging, hauling dirt out, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of loads of dirt.
And underneath all that dirt, it's about 20, 30 feet down, an estimated 30 bodies. There is evidence, there's historical evidence that it was a cemetery in the late 1800s and associated with the Masonic Lodge. Back in November, crews broke ground on the La Sequoia del El Castillo retirement community. In the late 1800s and associated with the Masonic Lodge. Back in
The Masonic Lodge, 30 bodies, 30 plus feet below ground, 20 plus feet below ground. And we can see that, part of the reason why they dug down that deep is because they're trying to reach, make a foundation for their large building here. So, and what is that was not supposed to be found. And I'm actually surprised this bit of news actually got out to the rest of the world and such because, like, this is very key information here. Very key information. Um, because the Masonic Freemasons, they, I forget this one, the one in Santa Fe here is, like, I think it's one of the first originals, um, or whatnot. I forget what the history of it and such, but there's, you know, but a lot of Freemasons are in they're in political fields, law enforcement, federal agencies, this, that, and the other. It's, and I guess, in a sense, they have their own military, vigilantes, and part of their cleansing is of, to do certain things. And I mean, it's for one to understand, but the thing is, this was not supposed to be found. This was buried, you know, that's, pretty deep area there. And, and especially back in the day, that was freaking manual labor. And so it seems like they freaking, could have been a prison situation. I wonder what actually is going more on with this. But there's something going on here, and it's pretty freaking crazy. And it really does prove that freaking Masons are, especially because they're ceremonious and a prestigious group, allegedly, for them to, have a pit of bodies, almost like a genocide, and was it really from, that time frame? Apparently well, let's continue on here.
November, crews broke ground on the La Sequoia del El Castillo retirement community near the plaza in Santa Fe. And just a few weeks ago, a heavy machine operator discovered remains on the east side of the construction site. The area's been isolated to allow for the construction to continue. Those who work near the construction site say they aren't surprised.
I know in doing building projects and such, it's always a thought that there might be some sort of site that had burials on it. It's kind of a given in this part of town.
But they were confused about why the remains weren't.
What does that mean? It's given this part of town, because you always talk about people being buried in the desert, right? See how fucking scary this is? Where it's just kind of the norm.
Sooner.
It's my understanding, being from Santa Fe, that they often check on those things before they start digging.
The development management firm overseeing the property says they did, but the testing didn't go deep enough. An archaeological testing was done on site and prior to as part of our entitlement process, but in that testing, remains were not discovered. Officials say
I just see something.
on site and prior to as part of our entitlement process, but in that testing,
Bicyclist.
remains were not discovered. Officials say the discovery shouldn't delay the timeline the project. Francesca Washington, KRQE, News 13. The developer tells us they are working with the city's Archaeological Review Board to determine if and how the remains should be removed.
So, the Freemasons are a key part of our infrastructure, and I don't know if people realize that, and that's why the Santa Fe one, that's the capital of the state. I do believe Albuquerque's not the capital; it's just the hub of the Midwest. But let's pause it here. I think U.S. I mean, this is the first one, and it's from 2009. So let's but before you read Dan Brown's The Lost Symbol, read this fascinating true story of the Masons in America. There's millions of readers, not to mention anxious booksellers and publishers await the launch of Dan Brown's latest novel, September 15th. On September 15th, public interest is riding high on the book's presumed theme, the hidden land of Freemasonry behind American history. Americans love a good mystery in Freemasonry, with its penchant for occult symbols and one secretive membership roles that included presidents from George Washington to Franklin Roosevelt has long provided one. But Freemasonry really impacted America is richer, more significant than anything that entertainment or speculation would hold. As a radical thought movement that emerged from the Reformation, Freemasonry was the first widespread and well-connected organization to espouse religious toleration and liberty, principles that the fraternity helped spread through the American colonies. It may seem anomalous for such liberal freedom or principles to arise from a clandestine brotherhood, but skullduggery was never Freemasonry's primary aim. In an age of religious conflict in the 17th century Europe, when individual cult running afoul of church strictures could suffer persecution or worse, Freemasons clung to secrecy less out of the hysteric drama than political expedience. Hold on a second. Let me turn the light up. Yeah, I don't think that actually comes. My screen was really dim. So, Freemasons believed in the search for religious truth as it existed in all civilizations, including those of pre-Christian past, and they drew upon ancient occult symbols, from pentagrams to luminescent eyeballs, as codes for ethical development and civic progress. Reactions from church authorities range from suspicion to hostility. European Masons had good reason to be decreed. The young American Masonic ideals slowly took flight, sometimes in unexpected ways. Part of British garrison granted local freemen of color the right to affiliate as Masons under the banner African Lodge Number 1. Oh, well, that's actually fucking news to me right there. So how about that? I've been in. I've had my Freemason encounters and such, and I've been presented with one recently, and so that's actually pretty astounding. But the one in Colonial Beach made it sound extremely racist. So, as such, African Lodge Number 1 represented the first black-led abolition movement in American history. Whatever it airs of mystery, images of skulls, pyramids, and all-seeing Masonry's most radical, even dangerous idea was the encouragement of different faiths within a single nation. Early in his term, Washington communicated these ideals in a letter to the Congregation of Rhode Island Synagogue. It is now no more that toleration is spoken of as if it was the indulgence of one class of people that another enjoy the exercise of their inherent natural rights. For happily, the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction, the persecution no assistance, requires only that they live under its protection, should demean themselves as good citizens. In other words, in this new nation, minority religions were not just guests at the table, but full householders. So I'm having a hard time finding this out currently, but I know that a lot of the road names are the names of roads are named. The nomenclature of roads are named with masons who built them, essentially. And there's more than meets the eye. And I mean, it's whatever they did, freaking. I think what happens, it's just like a motorcycle gang. There's, the major group, then there's different parts that just kind of break off, but they're still part of the group. And that's why I just try to stay on the outside of things. But, I actually, it's pretty freaking crazy because my ex-wife was into a lot of this stuff, and it's like, man, maybe her and I could have actually, talked on something. But, I don't know. Hope she's doing all right. That's, and when I write my book, freaking I'll send her a signed autographed copy too. So, all right, be safe, be kind, be safe, be kind, stay strong, y'all. I can remember my own fucking catchphrase. And love you, and yeah, just kind of interesting, bits of history. So, there's more like, and there's other forces at power too, and it's the world is a crazy place when one looks at it from my perspective, and it's not looking down, it's not looking up, it's looking everywhere, constantly looking around. I'm never, there's always something new to learn, and I just try to get closer to the sun, in order to be enlightened in one way or another. You're all beautiful, and seriously, here, let me just end it with this too.
Can't do that. This is a quarantine. Nothing.
This is how we're dealing with this is how people be acting with the coronavirus. I might just make this another video. Actually, I am going to make another video. Love you.